Welcome back to Joco Safety Solutions. I'm Tim, and sitting out here on the back porch, and I got to thinking about something earlier, and I wanted to share it with you. Today, this day and time, everybody talks about safety. We hear it in everything we do, whether we're taking some sort of course at school, whether we see it on TV, we see it in commercials, you see it on bumper stickers, safety first priority. You know, it's in everything that we do. When you buy something to put together, they talk about the safety. The very first thing in the instructions is the safety, and then on the production floor where we work at, they talk about safety. Everybody's talking about safety, and it is the pinnacle of importance in how we should be conducting ourselves and our teams. But at the same time, while everybody's talking about safety, they do so until that production falls behind. And that's when the pressure really hits. And that's when someone says, you know, we really need to get this done. Or we're already behind. Well, how about let's just do it this one time. And eventually every safety coordinator faces that moment where production and safety collide head on, because it's easy to support workplace safety when everything is run smoothly. It's very easy to have a meeting and talk about it, but when that production starts falling behind, that's when the game changes a lot of times. The real test comes when deadlines, budgets, overtime, pressure really enters into the picture at this point. Today, I want to talk to you about how strong safety leaders handle that pressure without losing their crew, without losing that authority, without losing their integrity. So, if you're new to the channel, this video is part of our safety coordinator series, where we talk about safety leadership, workplace safety culture, crew dynamics, and real world challenges safety professionals they face every day. Because most safety training um, talk about regulations, and that's not what we're here to do. But not enough people really talk about the human side of safety. So join us in this video when production and safety collide. Let's be honest, production pressure is real. Projects fall behind, equipment breaks, weather delays happen, deadlines get tighter, management then starts asking questions. And suddenly, safety starts feeling like an obstacle instead of a priority. Start hearing things like, if we've done it like this before, it only take a minute. We don't have time for that. Just get it done. And here's the danger part, or the dangerous part. Most workplace incidences don't happen because people are intentionally reckless. They don't. They happen because people feel pressure or pressured to get things done. And when that happens, that's when the incidents occur. Pressure to move faster, pressure to perform, pressure to keep production going. And a lot of times that equals up to a lot. And if a safety coordinator doesn't recognize that pressure itself, then they'll never really understand why shortcuts happen in the first place. So let's talk about the hard truth. Some safety coordinators, they fold under pressure. It happens. It happens all the time. Not because they're bad people, but because they want approval. They want acceptance. They want to avoid any type of conflict if they can, especially if that safety coordinator came from a crew and now he's got a new job, new position. He's a safety coordinator, safety specialist. They feel pressure. They don't want people saying things to them like, safety is slowing us down. You've changed since you've got this position, or you're making this harder than it really needs to be. So what do? They compromise. Maybe they ignore a little shortcut. Maybe they turn their head and look the other way. Maybe they say, just this once. But just this once is where the dangerous habits really begin. Because once unsafe habits becomes normal, it stops feeling dangerous anymore. That's how incidents grow slowly over time, and eventually something goes wrong. Here's something every strong safety leader really learns. Safety and production are not enemies, not by no means. In fact, poor safety destroys production. You know, one serious injury can actually shut down a project. It can put a halt to production. It triggers investigations, it delays schedules, damages morale in the workplace. You have increased cost, and it destroys trust. The companies with a very strong safety culture usually have better operations too. Why? Because organized work is safer work. Disciplined crews are safer crews. Clear communication improves both production and workplace safety. The problem is some people only look at short term speed instead of the long term consequences. That happens every day. And that's where good, strong safety leadership matters most. So, what do you do when production pressure hits? First, the biggest thing is stay calm. Just take, take a deep breath. Stay calm. The moment you become emotional, defensive, or aggressive, you lose influence. Second, focus on risk, not emotion. Instead of saying something like, well, because OSHA says so, oh man, have I heard that before? Try something like, how about helping me understand where controlling the risk is here? Can you help me understand that a little better? That changes the conversation. Third, offer solutions whenever possible. A good safety coordinator does that. You've already been on the crew, possibly. You've done the job before. Offer up solutions. A good safety coordinator doesn't just stop the work. They help find safer ways, really, to complete the work. That's how you build credibility with supervisors and crews. And finally, be consistent. If you enforce safety one day and ignore shortcuts the next, people stop trusting your leadership. They will see through that. Consistency builds respect, even with the skeptics. So let's talk about the moment your crew starts really watching you. Here's something most safety coordinators don't realize. Your crew is always watching. Believe me when I say that. Your crew is always watching you. Not just during safety meetings. They're watching what you tolerate. They're watching what you ignore, and what pressure changes your decisions. Not only the crew, but management as well, because it all filters up. The moment people realize production pressure changes your standards, your safety culture starts breaking down immediately. Because culture is built through consistency. We've talked about that before in another video. Not speeches, not posters, not slogans, behavior. Every single day in everything that you do. So at the end of the day, every safety coordinator eventually faces the moment where production and safety collide. It's going to happen. And in those moments, leadership matters, not perfection. People they're not looking for perfection, not ego, but leadership. Because real safety leadership means having the courage to protect people when the pressure says otherwise. And sometimes the hardest things you'll ever say on a job site is, we're stopping until we can do this safely. But those decisions are what separate a safety program from a real and true safety culture. So, call to action. Where have you been pressured or prioritized production over safety? Has it ever happened to you? Drop your experience in the comments below. Let me know. I would love to talk to you about it, and because it may be some things that we can help other people out with at the same time. And if you're following this safety coordinator series, make sure to check out Who is the Safety Coordinator, The First 90 Days, Dealing with the Skeptic, that's a good one, Building a Safety Culture that Actually Sticks, and last, From the Crew to Safety Authority. And remember, safety is always first, coffee second. So again, this is Tim with Joko Safety Solutions. Until the next one, take care and God bless.